Hello, I'm Wendell. This is level 1. This is going to be a quick look at the EnGenius Cloud Networks ECW260. This is an outdoor Wi-Fi 6 access point. It's got a little bit of special sauce. Let's take a look. So this is a 2x2 Wi-Fi 6 outdoor rated PoE access point. This is a dual band 802.11ax that reaches speeds of up to 1.2 gigabit on 5 gigahertz and 574 megabit on the 2.4 gigahertz band. This is an IP67 rated weatherproof enclosure, dustproof, and the housing will withstand harsh environments. Basically, you just screw this thing to a pole outside, it's going to get rained on, doesn't matter, it's sealed. You don't have to run power to it, you just need to run a network cable to it, and it'll run with power over Ethernet. Get some indicator lights on the side. You got 5 gigahertz and 2.4 gigahertz antennas on the top and bottom. And then you got a nice weather sealed, pigtail for your Ethernet connection here, and a rubber gasket. So it comes with everything that you need to make sure that you get this properly installed. It's a little bit of a chore to get Cat 6A, which is fatter, through this. You might have to use a drill bit to sort of route out this rubber seal a little bit, but Cat 5 and Cat 5e fit in there just fine. Probably want to give it a little squirt of silicone sealant just to be sure, but it makes a nice weather seal, and you can sort of bolt this on the back of a pole or whatever you need. It actually comes with the mounting hardware as well. Everything that you need to use this right in the box, except for the power adapter, but you're going to be using PoE anyway. You don't need an external power brick. It comes with 4 reasonably competent omnidirectional antennas. You can replace these with other antennas if you want, because these are just standard RP SMA connections. These antennas do have a little sealing gasket on them, so be sure that you get them on tight so that they're nice and weatherized, because otherwise this is an exposed connection. Also included in the box is a nice grounding strap, grounding wire. I mean, this is, significant gauge. So if it gets struck by lightning, it's going to fail safely. Here's your pole interface. So this is a slide click connection on this front, but the tapered connection on this side means that it'll strap to a pole just fine. You can use these with straps, you can use metal clamps, whatever you want. It's also got mounting holes, so if you want to mount it vertically on brick or something like that, you can do that as well. Of course, if you want to use your own screws and not use the mounting bracket the way that I did, then you can just, space it appropriately and you're good to go. You've also got some drywall anchors in case you're going to be mounting this on drywall or something like that. Maybe it's outside under an overhang. It even includes the metal pipe straps. Although if you're mounting it to a large diameter pole, you're going to need some bigger pipe straps. Those are pretty small. Those are made for, relatively small metal conduit, as opposed to like, a telephone pole or something like that. Now, fit and finish, sealing, put together, weatherization, it's good stuff. This is really no complaints here. It's actually really solidly built. Genuinely very impressive. If you're concerned about physical security, there is a single Phillips set screw here. I was a little disappointed that it didn't come with a security bit, but this is a standard size. You can just pop this screw out and pop a security bit in. So if you want to put a pentalobe screw in or some other type of security screw to mount it to the bracket to prevent somebody from popping this off the bracket, you can definitely do that with this set screw here. It'll at least slow them down. Or not everybody's going to have a set of security bits on them when they go to steal your access point from wherever it happens to be. But still, it would have been nice if there was a security bit or something like that in the box. So testing gets interesting. I've got access to an RF shielded bunker. Yeah. Welcome to the bunker. Okay, so this room has kind of appeared on some level 1 videos previously, but it's especially well suited for radio frequency testing or access point testing or anything that involves radio waves. You see, this room was built about 35 years ago by a retired NSA spook, and they radio shielded the rooms. Yes, that's right, the walls, that's plywood on all the walls. It's concrete filled cinder block with rebar reinforcement that's foil lined. Floor in the foundation, underneath the concrete foundation, walls, ceiling. When the door's closed, the big metal door, there's no radio frequency in here at all. No cell phone coverage, nothing. It's a giant Faraday cage. What did he know that we don't? I don't understand. But this is basically carved into the foundation of a much older building, and it's a lot of fun. But it turns out it works out really well for us because we need to do radio frequency testing. And we've got these access points You know, we've got the EnGenius and the Ubiquiti access points in here. When we're gonna do our speed tests, this room is the perfect room to do it in because there's literally no transient or outside radio frequency interference, sort of whatever our late 1980s style overhead fluorescent lights are putting off. But overall, it's a pretty clean room in terms of RF frequency interference. Now, I'm hoping that I can basically clear out all the junk, the rest of the junk, out of this room and, you know, make some room for more videos. But I mean, this room is completely insane. There's only 9 holes in the walls other than the doors, mostly for the refrigeration and HVAC system, and also for air filtration. You've heard of HEPA? Well, this system also is HEGA that ties in with the alarm system. So it's a ridiculous air filtration system plus air conditioning plus, you know, electrical, and that's pretty much it. There's just a giant Faraday cage. Other than that, it's kind of nuts. Wait a minute, why do you have an RF shielded room? And why is it so big? I don't know. I don't know why this was built. All I can tell you is the circumstance. And yeah, what did he know that we didn't know? That's where we've been doing our testing. 802.11ax in a 2x2 configuration. If your device supports 802.11ax, let me tell you, it is nice. Our physical interface here, that's 2.5 gig Ethernet. So ideally you want to use this with a PoE 2.5 gig switch. You can theoretically get up to 1200 megabit on this. Because it is a 2x2 solution, you're really probably only going to see that with multiple clients hitting the network. That said, I was getting a pretty respectable, you know, upwards of 850 megabits in the RF shielded room, which is very impressive for an access point like this. You know, it goes toe to toe with a lot of other access points that you would have externally. I think the larger antennas really definitely help it. In terms of mesh performance, well, I've done some other reviews of EnGenius products, and I put this on the same network with multiple other access points, and then took a client and sort of roamed between the RF room. So this was inside the RF room, and the other access points are outside the RF room. And so it's like, okay, if I open the door, can it roam quickly enough from the RF room to the access point that's on the outside? Really, like I said, these things really sing. They really work best in a mesh. If you feel like that you're only going to get one access point, and you're going to try to make that the thing for your network, unless you really need outdoor compatibility, there are other products and other EnGenius products that would maybe make it a little bit more sense. My goal and focus is to try to find wireless access points that support mesh and roaming correctly, because my experiences there have been frustrating, dealing with relatively high, medium high densities of devices and managing the handoff. And you know, somebody needs to Zoom and video conference, and they might wander from access point to access point, and they don't want to hiccup or do anything weird. And sometimes that's hit, sometimes that's miss. But these have handled that kind of a scenario pretty well in my testing so far. And I'm about 6 weeks in on testing at this point, give or take. So I feel like I've got a lot of mileage under my belt for doing usage testing, like real world usage testing, in addition to the RF bunker benchmarks. That said, the handoff for EnGenius products is the best that I've experienced so far on anything. And so if you watch some of my other videos, it's like, oh, you know, historically I've used a lot of Ubiquiti products, but they had a firmware update that they botched because they didn't do enough quality analysis. That stung a little bit. It's our old friend the Unify. This particular one, you know, this is the AC-HD. This particular one died. We bought it on Amazon, but Ubiquiti would not honor the warranty. They rejected the warranty, couldn't get an RMA on it. Fortunately, I've got more, but the hidden dangers of buying Ubiquiti equipment. Ugh. It's not even Wi-Fi 6AX, so they're sort of still struggling with that. This is, I've got a head-to-head that has Ubiquiti, Aruba, and some other products coming up, tested in the RF room. And yeah, the Ubiquiti stuff does pretty good. The EnGenius stuff is ahead. It's ahead just by academic margins, very small margins. But it is the best products and the best throughput overall. These products are not perfectly at feature parity in terms of, like, I'm going to run something for my like prosumer network or my home network and use most of the features. These are a good fit. Like, this is much better than any residential gear that you will get from anybody that I've tested that will provide a solid and reliable mesh network. And so you can have an outside access point to cover you for your RF bunker, if you happen to have an RF bunker. or any areas around your property that you need coverage. I mean, heck, you could even set up several of these. Setting up one of these on your network is ridiculously easy. Basically, you just plug it in. It's got to be power over Ethernet, like I said. You can get a separate power over Ethernet injector if you don't have a PoE switch for just a single device. But once you get the device plugged in and the power over Ethernet stuff going, you can see the lights. You can go to the local web page and do some basic configuration. But really, what you want to do is take a picture of the QR code on the back of this and enroll the device in the EnGenius cloud. Now, if you don't want to use the EnGenius cloud, there is a version of this hardware that has a local configuration, and you can use that so that you don't have anything that's cloud connected. But my experience with these is that you really just use the cloud for configuration, and then the configuration is downloaded on the access point, and the cloud could melt, and everything is going to keep running even without the cloud. So it's really just cloud configuration. And because I don't see this hardware as super long-lived, it's basically disposable, the disposable part of my network, and where disposable is like, I'm going to get 2 to 3 years out of this. And certainly if my RMA experience is any indication from other brands, that definitely seems like that's the case. I'm a little less worried about it. So, plus it also works so well that it's like, well, okay. But the second it burns me, oh, I'm unforgiving. A lot of this hardware was designed and is sort of battle tested in Taiwan. And so the hardware here really has a lot more engineering than you would think. I mean, I know that there are some older EnGenius products that were perhaps a little bit more robust, but for EnGenius, for the brand, these are quantum leap forward. These and the other access points that I reviewed previously are quantum leap forward in terms of reliability and robustness. Even though this is an outdoor unit, you could put this in your attic. You could put this somewhere that is not climate controlled, that is exposed to the elements, that is exposed to water, and it will give you a lot of wireless coverage. It is a 2x2 solution overall, and it does work best when you have multiple access points covering a given area. But if you were going to say Wi-Fi enable a park or something like that, this really wouldn't be a terrible choice because it gives you a lot of options and a lot of configuration. For my house, I've got a captive portal for guests on the guest network. When a guest signs into the guest Wi-Fi, it brings up a web page that has links to the local Plex server, the local DVR, some appliance control. They can control some of the lights and the driveway lights and some other stuff like that. So it's really pretty cool in terms of the home automation. It has the features you'd expect, like captive portal and MAC address filtering and all the stuff really that you would expect for a commercial solution. It's a really good choice because it'll support a huge number of devices and be really stable and be able to juggle the load. So overall, very impressive with what EnGenius is doing, and specifically the ECW260. Thanks for EnGenius for sending this over, because I was like, I'm gonna add some more stuff, and they're like, oh, we should try this one. And I did. I tried it. I liked it. It's good stuff. I'm Windowless Level 1. I'm signing out, and I'll see you later. Don't worry, I'll let you know if I have any problems. So far, so good. How? Oh, that's the boiler snake. No. Might as well have a drink of coffee, huh?